power of love, the power of love. Come and listen to the stories that change the way that you see, the things that you hear will help you to feel empowered every day.
Hello and welcome to the Power of Love, exploring the most powerful force on earth. I'm Mia Saenz, and our guest today is Darcy Volden. And I love Darcy a lot. We've known each other for several years. She was a teacher in the Self-Love Revolution classroom. She and I did a series called What If, which I would like us to turn that into a book. It's very powerful. We taught manifesting together. A lot of magic has come through us. And also she's a friend that supports, we support each other. So Darcy, welcome. And then we'll get into the rest of you. Sometimes I can't wait to bring you guys on, but I also want to share everything.
Yes.
Beautiful to have you. So
Thank you.
There's so much that you'll discover in our talk that Darcy offers and utilizes as a coach and as a body, mind, and spirit person. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what does love mean to you, Darcy?
I love this question. So what love means to me is, Mia, you and I've talked about this so much because, I mean, this is your world, and it is to me everything to do with self-love and the frequency love. It was a long journey for me to really get I was, like I was telling you before, it's like how we hear that, just, oh, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. But then one day you get it, oh, if I can love myself, if I can create from the inside out and be loved by learning to love me, the whole world just blows completely open. And that was my experience. And that's why I do what I do now, is to show other people how to do this. Because as you know, my story, I used to weigh almost 300 pounds. I was broker than a joke. I was in a very difficult marriage, living in a suburb cracker box apartment, just wishing and wondering of a different life. But I didn't get that at the time that I was creating my entire reality. I had to wake up and then look at, oh my gosh, I created, this 300-pound body, this difficult marriage, this being broke. And when I really looked at I wasn't loving myself,
Yeah.
And then once I kind of locked in on that, my world completely shifted. And it's literally become like magic and miracles. And every day I'm just kind of like, wow. Well,
one of the things about magic and miracles is, and I'll just throw this out because when you said that, they popped into my head. You also used to work with and on marketing, if I'm correct, for Joe Vitale and from The Secret. And so
yes.
that alone is magic right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and it's interesting because that was working with them was kind of my first real dip into, law of attraction and manifesting. But I always felt there's a little something missing with that. And then that's when I discovered the missing piece, which it's the love piece of this and love frequency. So, yes.
And we are going to talk a lot more about love frequency. But let's talk about your story. You don't have to take it as deep as, as deep as you want to, or as shallow as you want to. But your story that you were sharing, it really was a huge shift and change. There are some people, well, I guess I was one of them too. You wake up one day and you're like, that's it, I'm done. And you recreate it. Most people know my process is dream, believe, create, but everybody has their own way when they actually take that kind of action. So you want to tell a little bit more about, because if I'm not mistaken, you packed up, manifested, moving, and then creating what still sometimes you do for fun. Oh, just tell your story.
Okay, you got it. So as I said, right, almost 300 pounds, living in this apartment, just very difficult. I won't go into the whole story, the backstory of it, just for sake of time, but I will just tell you that one day And that wasn't all that long ago. It's really about 6 years ago. I mean, so all this has happened really very rapidly. But like I said earlier, was that I looked up and looked at my body, my life, and was like, I created this. And I'm like, I literally created this. And if I can create all of this, then I can uncreate it, and I can create it the way that I want it to go. So I'm like, I have two choices. I can do one of two things. I can sit here and do nothing and like just continue the habits, the patterns, the lifestyle, the everything that I've always ever done that seem normal. And I can look at, okay, what's my probable almost certain future? I'll continue to gain weight. I'll continue to stay broke. I'll continue to struggle, suffer. It would just only get worse from here. You know, at that point, I was having difficulty even walking, being so heavy. I mean, I wasn't ever going to go swimming, or I wasn't ever going to be a dancing on stage as a showgirl, people asking me for my autograph. I wasn't going to go hiking up mountains, you know, all these things that I ever dreamed of. And I thought to myself, I either choose to change right now, new future, or probable almost certain future. And it changed in a second. And that's what I want people to know. It doesn't have to be just all these just years and years and years. And it's got to be difficult and hard. You just choose. Okay. Now that doesn't mean all of a sudden life materializes and it's fine, right? I mean, the bridges of incidents will appear to create the reality that you desire. You're holding this vision in place. So as it turned out to be, I lost 130 pounds. I became a model, a bona fide traveling showgirl, in my late 40s even. And that's what I want people to know. It's never too late. You know, I was getting to perform on some of the most beautiful stages, and people coming up to me and asking me for my autograph. And I decided to, you know, I'm going to go on a living spree, because I don't want to check out of this planet. Like, I know everybody that's listening, you don't want to leave this planet being like, meh, you know, it was all right. No,
Right.
we want to leave here like, yes. I mean, that was a life. That was a life. And that's what I set out to do. And so I managed to manifest an RV. At the time, when I decided to do that, I had nothing. I literally cashing my change jar in at the Coinstar, but I knew that in pure absolute faith and the laws of the universe, law of attraction on steroids, this is possible. I mean, the great masters have shown us and proven this over and over and over. So manifested the RV, and I ditched everything I owned and I hit the road indefinitely. And to this day, I still live, travel, work, adventure full time. I am a nomad. It's just wherever I feel like going, I go. You know, if I want to stay 3 months somewhere and go play and check all this and that off my bucket list, that's what I do. And that's why I teach what I teach now, because I want people to see I'm living, breathing proof of this process. It's just a matter, and I always say this to my students too, is when we ask ourselves, why is your life absent of the things that you want or who you want to be? Why is your life absent of that? And we'll just take a moment and sit here and just kind of think about that. Kind of a hard one. But the answer is, it's because we've bought into some belief that absolutely is not true. We've bought into some limitation. And that even goes, we can just pull this all back to love. You know, that I'm not lovable enough. Like I can't have this kind of life of travel, or this business that I desire, this passion project, because, well, I'm afraid of being rejected, that I'm going to lose people's love, you know, rather than losing, okay, when we're going to give love and coming from and creating love frequency. See, I could keep going on, but
you know what's really cool though, when we shift and make that change, it's obviously, I don't want to say lonely at first, but the people are not the same. The players are not the same in your life. You recreate everything. Some of them will be, but it sounds like what happened to me when I made a shift in 2008 and came into this industry and all. I had lost a lot of weight, got out of a wheelchair, did all this stuff, I lost on Facebook, that was, and also I had no contact with them after, but almost all the teachers who were following me from when I was growing up, people from my old life disappeared. It's so fascinating, but what comes in is 1,000 times more love. And the people that are there to love and support you just as you're there to love and support them. Isn't that it's almost like a faith that we have to develop, that it's so much more important for us to create what's stirring inside of us than allow the old life that we had that seemed debilitating. And it is debilitating for many, not for everyone, but for many. So that debilitating life, to let that go and to have the faith that you're going to create something special.
Yeah, that's the magic word there is create, is to create. We're either responding from the heart in love, or look, we're responding in love.
Mm-hmm.
When we respond, we're creating, or we're reacting from the mind, and that is just kind of kills everything. It shoots everything down. And so that's where, we can tap into love. It's all here. I call this a command center right here, and where the frequency emanates, all that passion, that desire, the dreams, the pulls, the inspiration, the spark, see, right now I'm talking about it. My frequency is getting so high just talking about it. I'm getting the chills, like it's just, yeah.
The energy is pouring through you. Yeah. It's really beautiful. So let's talk more about love frequency, because a lot of people don't even know what that is.
All right. So when we're creating, manifesting, we're doing this in 3 different ways. We got one of the things that I teach, we spend an inordinate amount of time on, is being very hyper aware of our thoughts, the pictures in our mind, and the feeling state in our body. Because ultimate frequency, when I say frequency, that's that feeling that you feel in your body of any emotion. Like you might be feeling anxious, you might be feeling angry, sad, excited, elated. So many of our feelings that we feel in our body, we don't have words for, because English, our language, comes second. It's the feeling state. It's the feeling is the secret. Okay, that's the language of the universe. The feeling, every feeling is a frequency. Everywhere you'll feel it, sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes dense, sometimes light. And so that feeling, vibration, you hear people say a lot, vibration is a frequency. It's energy in motion, emotion. And when we can learn to tap into that and feel and identify the frequencies, then the frequencies allow us to tune into and make a match for the stuff that we want, even like with the self-love and who we really are. Mm-hmm. So I hope that explains frequency a little bit, but it's really important about understanding and being really present to all the time the feeling states in our bodies, because then we can bring awareness to it. It's like, oh gosh, I'm noticing I'm holding my breath, I'm tense, I'm tight. And when we have that feeling state in our body that's anything other than light and elation and joy and love, it's a belief that we've bought into that's trying to hold us in. So, but when we can start to open up like that, it's just like more love starts to appear in our life.
So in music or sound, 528 megahertz is the frequency of love. I use that a lot in meditation or listening. Sometimes at night while I'm sleeping, I'll have it playing. What's coming to you about because I love it.
Yeah. So I love that you brought that up, right? Because just especially with music, sound, harmonics, resonance, we are light, we are sound, we are music in and of itself. We are our energetic signature is like a beautiful chord, and then when we can get attuned, we can get attuned, and then we can create this just beautiful sound. And so I love too, even listening to the different frequencies, the solfeggio scale, right? Of different frequencies for the heart, for the chakra or crown chakra, because it is moving us, it is helping us to get in attunement, in alignment with a particular frequency. And then I like to take it a step further, because we're so used to we kind of have a lid on our happiness of like how much happiness that and love and joy that we think that we can experience, because we've only ever experienced like so much. Like it's almost unfathomable to think like, well, what if, right? Mia, you and I talk so much about what if, like, what if I could experience more feeling of love, like more feeling of happiness, or relax. And a lot of times, like we don't give ourselves permission to do that. Like it's like, okay, this is, I can't go any further than here. But that's why I invite people to play in those frequencies when you feel it. I tell them, so it's to, like, in your imagination, to turn up the volume, turn up the volume, just feel it. And just, it resonates
Put
out.
your headset on your phone if you're listening to it, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. I really love to, I'm a big proponent of headphones. By the way, 8D music, if anybody has not heard of 8D or like 3D, 8D, now they call it 24D, but that is really something too, because it's actually kind of like the surround sound going back and forth with sometimes I call it like a double induction. You're getting different hemispheres of the brain, right? Because this is all electrical frequency up here, and so it's really helping to attune that. So that's why, yes, Mia, absolutely on the headphones.
Yeah. Very, very, very cool. You can find stuff on YouTube if
Yes.
and make sure that, of course, it's not a brand new one. Make sure that it has a million different, or hundreds of thousands of views. And also read the reviews and see what people say. Read the reviews.
Yes.
Be very careful with all energies. You are made for a specific, you have your own frequency. And oftentimes, we get in somebody else's energy, or they get in ours, and it's not our frequency, and it can do sometimes harm. And this isn't to freak you out or frighten you, it's just be aware, right? Ask questions to yourself, to your spirit. Does this feel right to me? Does this resonate? Is this healing? Yeah.
Good point, Mia. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Do go intuitively when you're listening to those, because you don't know who's out there and creating what. So same thing, like just like trusted sources that you're listening to, for sure.
A lot of evenings, or not evenings, I'm asleep. A lot of I listen to rain to fall asleep too. And so that means my husband, my dog, everybody listen.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you too, I'm a big proponent of listening to affirmations. I've got a whole talk on affirmations, confirmations, because that too is helping. When we talk about belief and like shifting frequency and helping to discover and remember, it's really not even discover, because it's there all along, that self-love, because we've had just such a lifetime of programming,
right,
and beliefs, that it's like the example I give is there's who we truly are, love, the truth, all those things that you imagine and feel, that who you really are, what you want to do, and your passions. And then there's the other self, the other mind, which is all the programming, I'm not enough, I'm not lovable, I can't, this is too difficult, or money is the root of all evil,
or I'm stressed out, or I'm overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed, or oh my God,
recordings that go on and on. Yeah.
It's going. But what happens is this is what we look like. This is our identity, who we really are with our programming, but it's so melded in here together. So part of this process is being able to separate it out and remember, I'm love. This is love. And one of the processes I teach is just really simple. Is again, you have to be awake and you have to be aware of what you're thinking, picturing, feeling, even given moment. Mia, you know, I've talked about this in our classes. You do the same thing. It's like set an alarm. And let it go off randomly, check in. Oh, okay, check. Okay, how am I feeling? Oh, God, notice I'm really tense and I'm holding my breath. Oh, okay, what's that? Or what are my thoughts on that? And so just totally lost my train of thought. This was a good one. Oh yes, this little method. Okay, so just to check in and listen to the chat.
You should watch us teach together. We're both
Oh
like,
my God, for
there
real.
it is.
So if you're imagining, you just let the chatter, just fill it, all your fears, your doubts, your worries, everything. Imagine it as horrible, like over exaggerated. It's just ridiculous how bad it could be and feels, and all. Let it just fill up here. Let it pour in here and just hold it. And then in this hand, I use my right hand. You can switch whatever feels intuitively right for you. And then just fill this up and remembering, you know, what's the truth of who you really are. You know, what's important to you, what you want to create. Okay. And then we're holding it. We want to make this one bigger in our imagination. We're going to pull this one way up to the front, and we're going to let all that crap fall small to the back. Okay. Just let it almost, and you can just tiny, and this one becomes bigger. This will become dominant. And this, it just can even fade away. You can even look it away. But the key is the chatter and stuff. I don't know in this lifetime if it'll ever stop, you know, but we can manage it and use tools like that.
Yeah,
so
for sure we can. My brain used to be a big chatterbox. You know, they talk about monkey mind. They were like 50 at a time from tree to tree. And I remember it was about, I think it was 2012. You know, I had done a lot of obviously work over the years and all that. And it got to the point where, you know, when you're reading something, you've read it a million times, and then all of a sudden you either
just like
it or hear it, and it's like, what? I read in Conversations with God, which is one of the books that I privately, you know, when I'm doing the Love Mastery, we go over that, because in there, Neil Donald Walsh, or the God voice, has said, how many voices are you listening to, and what energies are they, and where did you disconnect from God?
Oh,
and
God.
So it was like, whoa, okay. I remember getting into the shower after that, which is also part of one of my healing things. You know, water helps me meditate and to reconnect, and thoughts flow and all that. And I was in the shower, and I felt like there was 1,000 people in my shower with me. I mean, it was like so powerful. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, I understand. And I heard a laughter, and I heard, you're listening again.
Yes.
Whoa. And so from that moment on, I was like, I am more powerful than I ever thought I was. And so it's only because we align ourselves to who we truly are, right? So everybody can get it. It's just, like we say, you and I say, practice makes proficiency, right? It's about doing it over and over again until you change those neural pathways and those patterns from the old to the new.
Yes. And I just want to add to that too, Mia, like that reminded me of that. It's what I create the affirmation with this too. It's just, when I'm seeing this, it's like, yes, all these beautiful things that I want to do, be, experience, actually I can. I can. And then I'm hearing this doubt is not real. This doubt is not real, because the doubt, that's not true. It's not. Zero of it. Actually I can. Actually, I can love myself fully. Actually, I can experience love in this lifetime. You know, actually I can have incredible loving relationships. Actually, I can, because I say I can, because I am that. I am
Yeah.
Boom.
And on that note, it's funny because a couple of these talks, they just go super fast because it's either, we're really close or we teach together or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, we're out of time. We got to close out. So on that note, I want you to share how people can reach you and all of that good stuff. And
okay, all the goodness. You can
remember,
find,
everybody, it's also in the credits too at the end.
yes, okay. So you can find me at dreamdrivendestiny.com, dreamdrivendestiny.com. I have for you, I'm so proud of it. I'm actually, this is just a sample page of it here, but I just created a very, very unique Manifesting Your Dreams journal. It is created with the utmost of intention. It is infused with the teachings of the great masters. It is to help you remember your love, who you are. It's a self-love. And when you're from there is when you can really manifest what you want. You can find that at just freemanifestingjournal.com. And but yeah, please reach out to me. I am out to help every person who comes in contact with me to leave this planet. Yes.
Not to leave this planet yet, but to help you grow so that when you do leave, you're at peace, right? Also, I want to say about Darcy, she also, if you're interested in any plant medicine, she helps facilitate them and brings in shamans to do the work, and with her, she also holds space, and she has talks and stuff. There's one tomorrow, but you guys won't see this for weeks.
Yeah.
But just look for that. Get in touch with her about, and all we'll say is plant medicine, and it covers everything. So
yes, I'm a big advocate for that. So please reach out to me if you have questions or inquiries about.
And a good source of information she is. So beautiful. All righty. Thank you so much for joining us, honey. It was really awesome to have you here. All right, everybody, and thank you. And we'll see you in another episode.